Hi there guys, this is Robert Lester and I'm going to talk today about the Georgia Guidestones, which by the way are not proof of the New World Order. They are proof of the Age of Reason. That is to say, they are not proof of a globalist system, because if there is a globalist system, it sure as hell does not conform to this idea. It's written in a multitude of languages: English, Spanish, Swahili, Hindu, Hebrew, Arabic, Chinese and Russian. And the principles are engraved thus: maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. Guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity. Unite humanity with a living new language. Rule passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. Protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. Let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. Avoid petty laws and useless officials. Balance personal rights with social duties. Prize truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite. Be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. Now, I see nothing there saying we need a centralised government, we need to centralise this, we need to control that, we need to kill half of the world or more. I see no evidence of that. But I keep on getting from people that these things are proof. A woman at work, I won't mention her name for practical reasons, because I don't want to embarrass her, but basically this is not proof of New World Order. If you actually read what it says, it's about maintaining balance between humans and nature, not overpopulating the earth and therefore destroying life. Because look at how much resources we use now, how much wastage. We are clearly overpopulated, regardless of what conspiracy theorists might tell us. And guiding reproduction, encouraging people not to have children and instead to have a more, productive life. Live their life to a more productive degree. Instead, people nowadays, especially within cities, they breed like rabbits and they end up losing fitness. And, diversity comes in with immigration, but even so, we're not exactly living up to that principle. Unite humanity with a living new language. We could do with a single language, couldn't we? Across the whole of the world. Think of that. One single language for all people to share in every nation, united across the world. Rule passion, faith and tradition, and all things with tempered reason. It sounds like a better idea doing that. Having tempered reason, because remember, it's about reason. It's not about ruling. It's not about control. Because people say control, rule, order. Oh, it's New World Order. It's not. It's about not being driven by passions, faith and tradition, and all of these things alone. Protect people, protect the people, and nations with fair laws and just courts. That sounds like a thing that America especially needs desperately, because presently their laws are, in need of a certain amount of tweaking, to say the least. And their courts, you can manipulate courts, can't you? Let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. So, autonomy for nations. Great. But in terms of the Greater Alliance, the Earth Alliance, external disputes would not be dealt with by wars like the Iraq War, the Afghan War, the possibility of a future Pakistani war or Yemen war or anything like that. Instead, it would be dealt with through a world court, through unity and strength, through the United Nations. Avoid petty laws and useless officials. Well, what can I say? The Patriot Act. There's an obvious thing there that goes against petty laws and useless officials. Balance personal rights with social duties. Balance. Not saying you should be a social slave, as with the Soviet Union, but you should be able to have personal rights, human rights, which give you balance. Instead of having too much free time and not the ability to really, well, work in society properly, instead you have the opposite. You have the ability to work socially in society with your duties, your work, as part of humanity, but not being repressed in terms of your own personal rights. Prize truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite. Now, whatever you see that infinite as being, whether it's the end result of the universe, the Big Bang, God, the Buddha, enlightenment, infinite energy, infinite consciousness. I mean, it all links in there, doesn't it? It could all link in, whatever you believe. Infinity can have any name which you create. And trying to find truth, beauty, love, and harmony, those have got to be some of the best principles we could possibly have in our lives. And lastly, be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature, leave room for nature. At the moment, humanity is the ever-spreading, ever-destroying cancer upon the earth, tearing apart nature, destroying life in abundance, wiping out entire species, and even though we try our best to prevent that, it still happens in huge numbers. What we need to do is bring ourselves back into balance with nature. So this is not proof of New World Order. This is proof of the age of reason. This is proof of logic. This is proof of common sense, which we can all agree on if we actually read these things. Instead, most people say, oh, it's proof of CFR, it's proof of New World Order, it's proof of this group or that group, it's proof of the Bilderbergs, or even with some of the things which have been written on there, it's proof of Barack Obama being a Muslim. And people try and say it's anti-Christian. How fucking stupid are you? No offence to retards, but you top the list. And the fact is, these are not proof of New World Order. If they're proof of anything, they're the proof of the type of system we need to have across the world, which should not be a regime of dictatorship and repression, but instead, well, a system of unity, fairness, and certainly not control, because things will be done at the local level, the national level, and then the global level, where there's disputes between nation states. As far as I'm concerned, that seems to be a perfectly fair system, and I can see no problem with it whatsoever.